Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Only one type of burger. For every pallet. Fries are extra. Large in size. We've got the shakes. Going over the brim.
Hey, this is Chris from JCW's. Put a positive, delicious spin on your day at any one of our 5 locations. In Lehigh, American Fork, Provo, South Jordan, or Harriman. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
What time is it?
Your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Resets Bailey right corner. Ace jabs right, goes right, drives to the rim, turns it back to the rim and packs it backwards. A reverse jump from Ace Bailey. And a fast break. Ace Bailey's out in front. Ace Bailey's going to finish that with a hammer and bring an ooh and an ah out of the crowd. Ace Bailey comes up from the left side, rises up on the reverse side with a one-hand, no-look reverse jam. Slam dunk contest material right there from Ace Bailey.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. 73 games in the books for this Utah Jazz team. 9 more left, and it starts tonight as they go over the Wasatch back into the Rocky Mountains to the neighbors to the east, the Denver Nuggets. Hey, the injury report doesn't look nearly as dire as it has the last few weeks, and I think you could still probably anticipate that this team will put up quite an effort. You'll see a lot more names that we haven't seen in a lot, in these past weeks, but they'll probably still see an L. The Nuggets are steadily just like I think they're just like we're okay where we're at right now in the playoff race.
They're waiting for the playoffs to start.
They know where they're at, and they know what Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic can do.
Jamal Murray just dropped, 53 points the other night?
They know what those guys can do in the playoffs. Yeah. And so it'll be...
They have a half-game advantage for home court against the Timberwolves in a first-round playoff series, which I am all about.
Right, in the 4-5?
Oh, give me Nuggets, Timberwolves in the first round. That sounds amazing.
So, eliminating one of those two teams right off the bat is pretty crazy.
It is crazy.
Joining us right now on the program, he is Jake Scott of Jake and Ben fame, of course, every day 10 to noon, but also pre-half and post on this very set of airwaves. And so Jake joining us on the program and making us feel a little bit smarter about basketball things. Jake, what's going on, man?
Alex, Jeremiah, I don't know about smart, but we'll chop it up.
Okay, yeah. Right out of the gate, I was asking Ben about this yesterday, and it kind of fascinated me a little bit more as we got into it, because we're talking about the guys that could possibly stick around, and that's a hard thing to do. Like we as people on the radio and fans will do the same thing. We'll willy-nilly cut guys and be like, I liked what he did, but he's gone. And guys like Bryce Sensabaugh and Isaiah Collier, and you look at these guys and go, I don't know what that's going to look like with an insane lineup with that I think a lot of fans are anticipating and excited for next year. But Bryce Sensabaugh to me is one that I wonder what his future looks like. What do you think Bryce's future looks like as a guy who's put a couple of games of 40 points, been really effective scoring-wise, but where does he fit into the future of this Utah Jazz, do you think?
If he stays with the Jazz, I think he finds himself as a role guy. Bryce, the scoring capability is always there. It's kind of everything else, right? And if he's never going to be a plus defender, and I don't know if that's in his future, well, then he's going to have to settle into kind of a role. C.J. Miles, it's been cool. He's been kind of coming around every now and again, being on the Jazz broadcast TV, and he's dropped by and done some pregame shows with us on radio. And, that dude found a role. He was going to be an offensive guy. He was going to come in. He was going to make some shots. And, if you look at it, he stayed around the league forever, a decade plus. I mean, shoot, he didn't stop playing that long ago. So, I think Bryce shoots well enough, scores well enough. Lately he hasn't been these last game he didn't shoot the three very well, but I think he's proven that he's got that skill set. So now what role does he find? Is he, a 15, 20-minute-a-night bench guy? I think that's probably his future regardless of where he is, and I think there's that role to be had with the Jazz if they've seen what they've liked from him. But I don't know if Bryce is the type that's going to be more than that. I don't know if the Jazz need him to be more than that. The NBA is always going to like a guy with size who can shoot, because you don't have to necessarily hide him on defense, even if they're not all defensive team caliber. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'd love to see him as their bench scorer moving forward with this new and improved roster. That would excite me because you see the potential as a scorer, and you don't have to. You talked about the defensive part of that. You don't have to rely on that as much when you're facing second units, so it won't be as big of an issue. But he can certainly score as good as anybody in the league when he gets the opportunity. Since we're on that topic of young guys and their development, Isaiah Collier, what have you seen from him before this recent hamstring issue got him on the bench? Have you seen enough to feel good about him in a backup point guard role for this team, or do you see a higher ceiling for him moving forward?
Oh man, higher ceiling. That's an interesting question because the shooting component is what's going to hold him back, and I know that's on the nose and everybody talks about it, but everybody talks about it because it's really true. And if you watch him on a nightly basis, how the other team just has to go under all the screens. It's an issue, So if that gets turned around, Jeremiah, I guess to answer your question, if he somehow became a high 30%, in somewhere in there, 3-point shooter,
wow.
I don't even think it has to be that high. If it ever got to 36, or 37, I think, man, you're talking about a dude with an incredible ceiling because he does everything else so well, and he puts so much pressure on the opposing defense. And I do think he's got serviceable size, so he can be, a good player on the defensive side. I mean, there's just so much to like about the guy. I mean, he's built like a dang barrel and has a ton of offensive capability. But as long as the other team doesn't, in the modern NBA, as long as the other team doesn't have to respect the shot, you're limited on what lineups you can play with. And it's unfortunately going to limit the role he can have. So, I mean, Collier's a tricky one because, I mean, I'm sure you guys do too. I just love his dang game.
I like him a lot.
He's a bulldog, right? He's a bulldog.
Yeah, sure.
And Jake, even if the shooting doesn't come along, like you say, if his shooting came along, that's a different conversation. But if it is what it is right now, I look at him as a point guard for this team moving forward, coming off the bench. That's about as good as you can get for a backup point guard in this league. That's really going to help this team win moving forward. If that's how this all works out.
Yeah, and the problem is, guys, is that you can't have how many non-shooters can you have on the floor at the same time, right?
That's fair.
So it used to be 10 or 15 years ago, you 3 non-shooters, and then it was 2, and now you can make an argument that it's down to 1. And I think he's proven that you can play with lineups that don't necessarily have 4 shooters or whatever the case may be. But it does limit you, right? It limits how many of those guys can you play him with. So it's a little bit tricky, but could he be a backup point guard in a competitive team? I think so.
We're looking at this. Excuse me. We're looking at this lineup. Obviously, people look and they make the projected in their head of what a starting 5 and even maybe that 6th person off the bench would look like. Even, we do the thing where we project the possibility of draft picks and who could come and who might. And, these names, we start getting interested in all these guys who are in the tournament or guys who had great years in the college game. Great. Awesome. A couple of years down the line, this is going to be a super expensive deal for these guys to keep maintaining. How does 3 years down the line look when you're going to have to hit this, this situation where a ton of money is going to converge at one time and they're going to have to make some decisions?
Yeah, the NBA, I used to love this stuff so much, right? The projecting and this contract here and this contract there. It used to be one of my favorite things to do. But in today's day and age in the NBA, it seems like the windows are just so dang small because the contracts are so much shorter. I mean, you guys remember the day and age of waiting out Andre Carolico's contract, right? You know,
Right.
he signed that big 7-year thing, and everybody's like, "Oh man, when is this thing over?" And it just doesn't work that way. You know, the max you can sign is 4, maybe 5 if you have your bird rights or whatever. So it makes these windows so much more delicate. But to your point, I mean, like if you've got right now, they've got 2. Basically max guys, right, in Lowry and Jaren Jackson Jr. And usually you can fit another big salary or split that big salary. And I think, you know, Walker Kessler is going to command some dough. How much that is going to be, I think will be actually a really critical thing. But Keontae is going to have to get paid, right? And if Ace's trajectory goes well, he's going to have to get paid. And yes, they're going to have to make some difficult decisions in the future, just like you know, Oklahoma City's had to do some similar things, and the Spurs will too. It's just, you know, kind of a fact. So I think if you're the Jazz, you're hoping that all these guys hit and they're all worthy of being paid. And yeah, you have to make some difficult decisions on who to keep and who to go, but it's better than the alternative, right, where you don't have a player to pay, and so you pay the wrong guy. That's going to be tough, but I think it all depends on who really proves out to be the difference makers on the squad, right? You know, Ben, if you listen to Ben thinks that Keontae has the ability to score, you know, 29 points a game. I don't know if the Jazz would actually want him to do that, but he's that important to winning, you know? So NBA is kind of in the world where let's make sure we've got the guys under our umbrella, and then yeah, you got to make sure you pay the right guys, but at the same time, you know, I think that the Jaren Jackson Jr. thing made a move into win now, and then let's see what goes. I mean, I think they would love it if Ace Bailey turns out to be an All-NBA player, but you know, they'll pay that tax bill when it comes, I think.
Let's talk about Ace. He's averaging 20 points per game over his last 10. He had a 37-point game and a 33-point game just over the last 8 days. What are you seeing from him as you're watching him closely that gets you excited about what his future looks like?
So, I'll be honest with you guys. I think numbers are fake at this point for the Jazz.
Sure.
I think they've been pretty fake for a while now. Just, you know, back to Bryce Sensabaugh, he's not going to get 20 shots tonight, right?
Right.
But Ace at some point might get 20 shots tonight in his development. So, you know, I guess you can find that encouraging that he's capable of doing it. I like it that the balance on his shot looks a lot better. Coach Lacombe, my guy, has talked a lot about that. I think it's important that you hear from coaches that he's being coachable. But Will Hardy, you know, I get the pleasure of listening to him for every post game, and he keeps going back to the defense and his defensive ability and his defensive games, and we've seen the blocks and that. But, you know, remember, at the beginning of the year, he couldn't stop fouling on defense. He couldn't stay in front of his guy, and then he would foul, and it was just this crazy foul rate. And he's cleaned that right up. I think it's great. He's digging out boards. Have you guys been following his rebounding numbers? I mean, he's digging out 7-8 boards a night to go along with those scoring efforts. So I think all those are important, because I think the Jazz want to play winning team basketball. I think that's through all of this stuff. I think that's the culture Will Hardy's trying to build, the play hard and pass thing, guys. You know, that we've heard over and over again. I think that's ultimately what he wants, and I think Ace has shown the ability to be a team guy. You know, not be a selfish player, not come in and be like, I'm a top 5 rookie, guys, give me the ball. I mean, that doesn't seem to be his personality. I really like what I see from Ace Bailey, but I wasn't expecting him to be, you know, Cooper Flagg right out of the gate, and he had some setbacks with the illness and the injury and stuff, but God, we can all see it. He can get a shot wherever he wants on the floor. I mean, it's really impressive. As he hones it, if he is coachable, I mean, he's huge, he's long, he's athletic. I mean, he's all the things. You know, we tried to talk Donovan Mitchell into being 6'7", and he just was never going to be that, right? And Ace is all of those things. The Jazz, you know, they're huge. Years, guys, I've been covering Jazz teams that are undersized, saying somehow Bojan Bogdanovic is going to play like he's 7 feet tall, you know? Like, next year's team is going to be huge. Ace Bailey is going to be, in theory, the starting 2, you know?
Yeah, it's
crazy. Remember watching watching Mike Conley to try to defend guys, or even going back further, like somebody like Gordon Giricek, who was 6'4", maybe, and trying to be like, oh, okay, you can go out there and guard these giant wings, and they're going to be it's going to be a different Jazz team than we've seen, and with Ace, there's a room for a primary scorer in the lineup, I think, and if he developed into that, I think the Jazz would be thrilled.
I think with all the people wondering about what the draft could look like, and it's fun to kind of plug names in of the possibilities. It's also dangerous. It's also a dangerous game to get into. Is there a possibility if they do end up with that one pick, or maybe even number 2, or let's say that AJ DeBonsa finds his way to Utah somehow, would there be a possibility that Ace Bailey could be coming off the bench as a 6th man? Maybe not year 1, but I mean maybe though, because AJ is so freaking good already.
Yes. I mean, there's a possibility of that. If the Jazz want to make the playoffs next year and make a run at it, I don't think they would want to start a rookie if they could help it. But then again, if you're picking top 3, look at Con Knippel and what he's doing, and he was 4, right? So I guess you never know who you're going to get. I do think, if we want to talk draft, I do think the Jazz are actually in the luxury of being able to pick the best player. Like, you hear coaches talk about that a lot, right? Best player available. We'll take the best player available. But sometimes that's not the case. It's just not. I'll give you a Jazz example. When they were in the lottery and got the 5th pick, and then had to trade up to get Darren Williams, right? Trade up to 3. And who were Ray of the Buffet Felton was another point. Who was another point guard that year? There was one more. Oh, Chris Paul, obviously. Yep. And that was kind of the triumvirate of point guards. Well, everybody and their dog knew the Jazz were going to take a point guard. Everybody, because they had signed Carlos Arroyo the year before, and that dude flamed out, and they had to trade him. Raul Lopez was never going to be a guy. They had Carlos Boozer. They had the power forward part of Jerry's offense all set. They just needed a point guard. They were drafting for need. They were going to take a point guard. Honestly, the Jazz could take whatever. I mean, even if there were a big that they wanted to take, and I don't know where the best big on the board would go in this particular draft, but they could do that. I mean, that would put the heat on Walker Kessler a little bit. I mean, certainly an NBA team nowadays can never have enough talented wings, ever. If Keontae's had one heck of a season, I think he's really earned the bite at the apple at a starting point guard. But Keontae's, only had a couple of years doing it overall, and 1 year really doing it at a high level. So, I mean, you can draft somebody anywhere and to push guys, and I think the Jazz actually have that rare luxury if they get a good pick that they can take really the best player who they think is the best player available.
I know you've followed the league for a long time as a fan and in the media, and you probably miss the Seattle Sonics like we do. What are you excited about expansion? Are you excited to see the Sonics back? Are you excited to see the league making this move?
I remember some of those old matchups against the Jazz and the Sonics and how annoying their fans were. So am I glad that their annoying fans are back? Not really. I never felt that for them in the first place.
Here's how annoying their fans are. Here's how annoying their fans are. Their fans are so freaking annoying that they allowed the team to go because they were like, I don't want to pay another tax just to keep a team here. I was like, you're going to rue this day, and they freaking did. But, yeah, that's how annoying they are.
They had a role in losing their franchise. Howard Schultz probably still is not that popular up there, but whatever. I don't care. I'm stoked they're going to Vegas. I love Vegas. I love the city. I think it's kind of Salt Lake's weird sister city in a way, and we have this kind of funny common history. And I love going to Las Vegas, and that town now having sports is kind of it's kind of a fun part of it. So I think it's cool the NBA is going to Vegas. Being so intimate with the gambling industry might be a little bit of a different story, but the city itself, I think it's cool. They're expanding, and man, the story of that is the expansion tax. Cow, $7 to $10 billion.
Isn't that crazy?
Holy cow, it's amazing. I mean, every team in the NBA is going to get a huge windfall from this thing, and I guess make up for the money they lost during the pandemic. That was always the story. But if the money's that big, hey, get another couple of franchises going. I don't know. We could talk about whether the league, from a talent standpoint, can take 2 more teams. I think that's kind of an interesting discussion. But, I think they've been holding out on this a while. I think that those were always going to be the 2 more. We'll see. We'll see what the expansion draft process looks like. That's going to be pretty fascinating, too, how many players you can protect.
Yeah, especially once the Jazz get good, we don't want them taking any of the players.
Some dudes, yeah. Why not?
It's like, wait a minute. Why didn't we do this a couple years ago when they were taking?
Maybe that'll be the gift to them, too, that Lowry ends up getting picked up, and they go, oh, shoot, man, we're going to miss you. This solves the money problem for him right there in that moment. Jake Scott, he'll have the pre-half and post-game, of course, as he always does. The Jazz and the Nuggets tonight in Denver, and it all starts right here at 6 o'clock with the pregame. And then Jake and the coach will take you through that one, and, of course, the call with Booner and, of course, Locke all night right here. Jake, thanks for hanging out, man.
Thanks,
we appreciate
Jake.
it as usual.
Guys, it's always fun hanging out. Anytime. Thank you very much.
There you go. Jake Scott, everybody. Yeah, it was $7 billion. 5 to 7, is that what they say the buy-in's going to be?
Yeah.
The franchise fee?
Yep. Just the fee.
You know what you can get with that? 2 plus full Major League Baseball expansion teams in your because that's $2.5 billion, $2 to $2.5 billion on the buy-in for a new baseball franchise.
Yep, $7 to $10 billion per team is what the league is expecting.
Adam Silver, settle down, man. Oh, no. All right, guess what? This is not the funnest type of breaking news we like to do, but every 4 to 7 years, we have to do breaking news that sounds very and eerily similar to times that we've had in the past. A rollover crash on Jupiter Island in Florida with the person at the driver's seat, one Tiger Woods. We have an update to his condition. Initially, people thought he might have been hurt. Instead, police hit the scene. And what do we have, JJ, from Jupiter Island, Florida?
Oh, boy. 15-time major champion Tiger Woods was arrested on suspicion of DUI on Friday after he was involved in a traffic wreck not far from his home in Jupiter Island, as Alex just said. The sheriff, John Budensic, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He's not listening, though. He won't care. The sheriff said Woods was driving a Land Rover northbound on South Beach Road at high speed when he attempted to pass a truck hauling a pressure cleaner, which had slowed down to turn into a driveway. Woods' SUV swerved to avoid the truck but clipped the back of the trailer. The Land Rover flipped on its side and slid down the road. Woods climbed out of the passenger's window to get out. Woods and the other driver were not injured by some miracle. The accident occurred around 2 p.m. Eastern, so this was not like a middle of the night thing. This was in the middle of the afternoon.
Like, our society is so funny. We want so bad for that guy to, be successful despite the fact that
my gosh, there is a picture
of the crash?
Of the crash.
Ooh, I gotta
the
see
SUV
this.
And Tiger standing by a fire hydrant.
Look at this.
Like, what happened? That is a wild photo.
Everyone's like, oh, we don't know what Tiger's
I feel
condition
like
is.
we've seen this photo before.
I know. They're like, we don't know what. Yeah, because this was the same thing. I mean, look.
Tiger,
now the DUI wasn't there. It was initially people were like, do you think there was something going on? Because he rolled that Genesis down the hill in L.A. Remember that one?
Yes.
And then everybody remembers the video and the picture of him in that V-neck white shirt looking like Timu Tiger Woods. Like you didn't even recognize the guy. And then the body cam video, by the way, RIP to the inboxes of the people making the grammar requests for the dash cam of the police people, for the police footage of their conversation with Tiger. But do you remember the DUI, the alleged DUI, the first time around when they're trying to have him do the alphabet, and he was just like, I'm not going to be able to do that very well. And they're like, all right, why don't you go ahead and get in the car? So
let me add this. This is more info. News. This is more info, and this is important.
Please don't say Charlie or somebody who's in the car.
No. He was alone. The sheriff said Woods' breathalyzer test did not show any signs of alcohol. So it was not alcohol.
This is also
that was part of the deal.
Okay.
The sheriff deputy, the Budensic,
love that guy, said
that the DUI investigators believed at the scene that Woods wasn't impaired by alcohol. They believe it was some type of medication or drug.
So this was also the problem.
I think it's important to note that, not to excuse it, but it's important to note that.
But this was also the same conversation we had when he had the one where everybody saw him
Yeah.
At that with the dash cam footage, with the back and forth of the police officer when he was pulled over driving what they and they also charged him with DUI then too. And they initially said the same thing. But we're not talking alcohol here. Obviously, it doesn't matter when you talk about being impaired by something. But man, bad news for Tiger. You know what I hate about this? We're going to have to hear the endless, like, oh, but he's back on the road to recovery. You know, he did get some steel pins put in his knee.
So is he going to golf in the Masters?
But see, that's what our stupidity is,
he
right?
Is he going to be back?
Okay. This is when you take a couple of years off. Like, you can't even go to the Champions Dinner, Tiger. You can't show up. So give it a rest for a minute. Get back in the public eye a little bit later. Don't ruin stuff for your kid. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we've got more to talk about. So we've got tons to get into today. I know that we're gonna try to get into. We're gonna talk some NCAA tournament. We're also gonna talk. We're gonna hear that conversation that Morgan Scalley had with the media as well. You're gonna hear that a little bit later. We're trying to see if we can get Bear Tourney. It's not looking great because I think the travel might not line up for our normal Friday conversation with the coach. But we will still talk Mammoth at some point as well. Again, hey, this Wednesday is a Win Ticket Wednesday. On the KSL Sports Zone, what can you win? How about tickets to this one? Weezer with the Shins and Silver Sun pickup, and all at the Maverick Center, all in September. These are bands I listen to. I don't know why I screwed up that read. Like
Silver Sun pickups.
Silver Sun pickups.
It's good.
Also
bands.
Also on the billing with the Shins and Weezer.
It's a good show. So
you can win those tickets next week, and I won't butcher the read as badly next time around. You know why? Because I'm going to make JJ do it. Stay here. More to go around the corner. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Here we go. Yeah.
We're a little off the rails today on this Friday. Napolis is about ready to walk out of the building. He's had it with both of us.
I do love coming up with all the Tiger Woods conspiracy theories, all the stuff that's going on. Of course, he arrested after a rollover crash in Jupiter Island, Florida. According to the police report, tried to pass a pressure washing truck. The pressure washing truck was turning. When they're turning, it's hard to pass them. Clipped the back, and the Range Rover that Woods was driving ended up on its side. And Tiger Woods ended up on the side of the road. And he also ended up in the eyes of the suspicion of the sheriffs there in Jupiter Island, Florida, who said, this guy's not right, and his breathalyzer's fine, but something ain't right in this dude's bloodstream. So they arrested him under the suspicion of DUI. So there you go.
What a day for the guy in the power washer truck. Woke up this morning, went about his business. He's just driving down the road, and all of a sudden that happens. And then he goes home to his wife, and his wife says, honey, how was your day? And he goes, hey, you wouldn't believe this.
No, he goes,
I got into a car accident with Tiger Woods.
Why were you an hour late? Why were you 2 hours late for dinner? Okay.
Or that.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me explain some things.
Who hasn't been in a car accident with Tiger Woods at this point?
So you know who Tiger Woods is, right? You watch the TGL, right, honey? All right. Hey, we just had the CBS Sports intro, of course, and we're about 30-ish minutes from the second half of the Elite Eight firing up. And I always love this weekend. It's really fun. And it's a ton of fun because you're going to go Elite Eight, and then tomorrow you're going to get your first set of the Elite Eight games that are going to get you your regional finals, of course, that will end in a Final Four. Or two of the Final Four, and then Sunday the same thing. It's always a fun thing to be able to watch. JJ, the stat you threw out about how, this is the first time, or only the second time in tournament history that at this point in the tournament with the Sweet 16, that there were no more mid-major programs. We don't call them G anything in basketball. We call them mid-major. All power programs. Including Texas, who was the 11 seed, who almost freaking went on to the Elite Eight last night, by the way. Did you see Coach Painter coming off of the floor for Purdue, and he went into the tunnel, and he goes, "Holy yes!" Like it was just a guy who had been through it, man. Like it was a great game. At least it was a good game.
That was the game, but the rest were.
Oh my gosh! So you had the Arizona Wildcats who beat Arkansas by 20. They hung a 100 note on these guys. What was it, 108-88? Is that what it ended up being? But more importantly, a crazy stat from this whole thing is now that 20-point loss made it the 20th 20-point loss in this tournament, which is now a record breaker at this point of the tournament, of any tournament ever. The most was like 10 years ago, and it was 19.
In 1999.
1999 through the whole tournament. They've already hit 20 now. 20-point losses.
What does that tell you?
It means that the theory that you had about March Madness maybe being dead, there might be a little bit more of a point to be made right there as well. And I don't know how you fix blowouts in an NCAA tournament. Does that mean the matchups, we just haven't picked the right people? The right teams didn't make it?
You can't blame the Cinderellas anymore. You can't blame, it's, when these teams pull off these weird upsets and then they get down to play these teams, that's when the real separation begins. Well, no, Arizona crushed Arkansas. Arkansas is a good basketball team. Arkansas won 28 games this year. Just there's a big gap still between Arizona and them. There's some bullies in college basketball. There's some programs that have more than everybody else. I was impressed by Illinois last night. Houston just didn't shoot the ball well. That was supposed to be a game. Purdue, Texas turned out to be great. Iowa, Nebraska was really competitive, but it'll be remembered for the bad thing that happened in the final minute, not the good things. How do you not have 5 guys on the floor and a key possession? How do you do that?
Fred Hoiberg took the blame for it. He said it was a miscommunication. I'm the head coach, so it's on me.
Remind me of Hoosiers. We'll play with 4.
My team's on the court.
My team's on the court. Okay, here we go.
It's your funeral, coach. All right.
Didn't work so well in March Madness, did it, Coach? But no, it's, I just think that it's not what it used to be. Now, you can get caught up in that a little bit too much, and it just may be circumstantial, but you start to see this tournament morphing into something different because of NIL. And I do understand and agree that there are teams that are able to, with their resources, go out and get the guys they want. So I think this is the first time we've had a Sweet 16 without North Carolina, Kansas. There's another team. Anyway, those blue bloods have kind of faded. The teams that have these resources have been able to step up.
But see, that's an argument for a lot of people where they go, well, there you go. The usual blue bloods aren't. They're not getting. They're not.
Yeah, but it's not because they're. It's because they don't have the cash. The teams with the money are winning. It's pay to play. Well, it's becoming pay to play. It's a professional basketball tournament. It's just changing. It's not that. And Purdue, Texas was. What did you enjoy watching that? I mean, it was a thrilling ending. It was a good basketball game. This is a pro tournament now. These are pros. These players are being paid a lot of money. And when you get to the Sweet 16 and there's no Cinderella, there's no mid-major team where they have guys that are playing that just are on scholarships, okay, spare me this idea that this is college basketball anymore, okay, right? This is not a bunch of guys on scholarship playing other guys that are just on scholarship. These are professional basketball players. Like just BYU itself had players from Europe and a guy from the G League on their roster. And they're not the only ones that do that. You look at Arizona's roster, it's loaded. They got 2 top 10 picks potentially, Braden Burries and Koa Pete. And their best player is Jaden Bradley's a senior, he's a man. And these guys make money. And it's just not what it used to be. And maybe that's okay. I'm not saying it's bad, but don't tell me that March Madness is still magical in one shining moment. This has become a professional basketball tournament. And examples like that, where there's 20-point blowouts more than any other time, examples of there's only Power 4 teams in the Sweet 16, Cinderella's dead, just goes to show that the tournament has changed. You can argue good or bad. Depends on what you're looking for. I hear people say, well, the play's going to be better because all the best teams are in it. Were you blown away at the play of the Arizona-Arkansas game? Are you going to remember that and talk about that all week? You'll remember the ending of Purdue, Texas, because that's what we tune in for. And you did get that out of one of the 4 games. But this was supposed to be better basketball. Was Houston, Illinois better basketball? Houston couldn't score. Houston scored 55 points. Okay, that's not better basketball. It's just pros. It's a professional basketball tournament now, and we need to accept that.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. Tonight's matchups in the NCAA tournament, just to refresh your memory, are none of the teams that I have winning the national championship. So back to you, JJ. No.
I still got Arizona. You got Arizona. We all picked Arizona.
Does it feel icky? Like, because look, St. John's is a 5 seed. You don't look at St. John's as the 30-win 5-seed team to go, oh, yeah, that's an upstart team. And also, they have the ghost of Rick Pitino coaching the team.
Yes.
Embalmed Dracula Rick Pitino coaching.
Not human.
So my question is can you root for the St. John's Red Storm, like thinking to yourself that this team is that there's some kind of an underdog, so to speak? I mean,
They're 30-6, and they've got dudes. No.
Okay.
And they got one of the best coaches of all time. No.
Would you rather see a Michigan-Alabama Sweet 16 matchup or a Michigan-Alabama college football playoff
matchup by a mile? It's not even close.
Alabama basketball is decidedly better than Alabama football right now, isn't it?
Kind of weirdly, yes.
Yikes. So you've
but
got
Alabama basketball is really, really good, as BYU found out last year.
Real quickly, Johnny's and Duke tonight. That's your first game. Then Alabama, Michigan will tip off pretty closely after that. After the St. John's and Duke game gets over, you'll have this is a classic matchup right here. And I want Tom Izzo to win this game so bad. Michigan State, UConn, love that one. And then a game that you don't see a lot of. This is, the other ones were a bunch of names we see, well, except for St. John's, I guess. But Tennessee and Iowa State, your chance to move on to the Elite Eight from that one, as you have now still left only Iowa State and Arizona. Those are your only Big 12 teams still left in this one?
Yes, that's crazy. I didn't think it would be that case.
Sure.
But
yeah, we thought Houston would be still hanging on here. All right, we'll take a break.
Big Ten's having a great tournament.
We'll come back. More to go around the corner. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the biggest name. You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Appreciate you being on board with us on a Friday. It is a Friday. You got the other half of the Sweet 16 firing off tonight. You're going to get that coverage coming up at top of the hour here on Westwood One on the 1280 signal. And you can listen to that. We'll, of course, have Jazz coverage tonight coming up at 6 o'clock as well. And then you get the Jazz on 97.5. But we'll have that Westwood One coverage also as well. Hey, also want to remind you that the KSL Sports Zone and Beehive Meals are honoring people that impact the youth sports in your community. How does that happen? You nominate a youth sports volunteer with the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week program. KSLSports.com/contests. Got to make it plural. And then every Thursday, we read off those winners on our program, and Beehive Meals throws in $250. It is the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. JJ, I have a little top 10 in front of me.
All right.
Opening day of baseball this week, of course. We went through some of the top items at the concession stands across Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball does it really well. Minor League Baseball, at that point, it's basically a frat dare. When you go into these minor league baseball stadiums and they're like, we take 2 sausages, okay? Now listen where I'm going with this. You hollow out the 2 sausages, and then you're like, where are we going with this thing? And then it has some gimmicky name, all to be able to get you in the ballpark. The Major League Baseball parks just get you in there with some insane food.
Yes.
That all sounds phenomenal. I do have in front of me, though, a legit top 10 for you to participate. Alex Napoles can participate or not. I mean, I don't know if this is up his alley or not. I don't know if he's much of a baseball guy. Are you a baseball guy, Napoles? I don't know.
Not really.
Yeah, okay. Back to you. I have in front of me the highest selling Major League Baseball jerseys going into 2026. So these are, we've talked before about the historic names that have been the big names that have sold some jerseys. This one is 2026 specific.
Okay. Just in this year.
Like just in the 2025, 2020, like basically the very, very latest, like the top player jerseys right now being sold across across Major League Baseball.
Okay.
Got 60 seconds. Don't overthink it. On your mark, get set, go.
Shohei Ohtani.
Ding.
Vlad Guerrero Jr. Mike Trout. Wow.
We're in a new era, brother.
Aaron Judge.
Ding.
Okay. Any young guys out there? Big Dumper. Cal Raleigh.
Ding.
All right.
The jersey's huge, by the way.
I'll just throw out somebody named Rodriguez. Did I win any on that one?
No, but
okay.
I definitely
tried.
My eyes scanned the list to be like, let me just check.
I tried.
Is Altuve so
Jose
up
Altuve.
there?
Okay.
It is a good guess. It's funny that Altuve is like old
Any
now.
more Dodgers? Did we get all the Dodgers?
You did not get all the
Dodgers.
Dodgers.
Oh, we got to get more Dodgers. It wouldn't be Kershaw, would it? Oh, man. What Dodgers do we have left here?
Some.
There's Dodgers
Multiple.
on the list, plural.
Yes.
Multiple.
Tatis?
Fernando Tatis Jr.
No. I thought we were going, no, but.
Manny Machado. Okay.
Yamamoto?
Ding.
I should have went Japan. Dang it.
Oh.
I couldn't.
I should have went Japan. So what's interesting about Yamamoto and Ohtani, by the way, the Dodgers.
Schwarber, Bryce Harper.
No.
None
Isn't
of
that funny how,
Wow.
that's how crazy it's gotten. So Ohtani's 1, Yamamoto's 2.
That makes sense.
Yes. Aaron Judge 3, Cal Raleigh 4. You're going to kick yourself on this one, on 5 and 6. Mookie Betts.
Oh.
Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are
My
still
mind,
guys.
for some reason, my mind was
Yeah.
blanking on Dodgers.
Nolan Arenado. I don't blame you for not getting that Arizona Diamondback. Pete Alonso.
Arenado?
Now, of course,
Wait.
I know. Nolan Arenado.
Well, he was with the Cardinals. Is it a Cardinals jersey or is it the
It's
new
a
Diamondbacks?
It's a Diamondbacks jersey now, I guess.
Okay.
Pete Alonso, who now is, of course, an Oriole.
He is a Baltimore Oriole.
He's on the list. Roman Anthony, Boston Red Sox. And then this is a name
there'd
that
be a Red Sox
has been
player.
popping up more and more. He was on Team USA playing center field for a good chunk of the series. Pete Crow Armstrong
That's right.
for the Chicago Cubs. Kike Hernandez, by the way, was 11. So you had out of the top
A lot
11.
of Dodgers, and I whiffed on them.
The top 11, you had 5 Dodgers. So there you go.
Sorry, Dodger fans. Brain freeze today.
By the way, Shohei Ohtani has more than 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 combined. That's where his jersey sales are across the world. Bonkers, right?
Wow.
But not surprising. Yamamoto, 2. That was awesome. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We have more on the program. When we return, let's get into a couple different things. One, we're going to talk about this Utah Jazz matchup against the Denver Nuggets. We'll get you ready for that one as well. And then I promise we're going to get to that Morgan Scally audio next hour as well. Oh, no, JJ. The camera crew's got there already? The Range Rover is still on its side. If I'm the sheriff, I'd keep it there. I don't know. I'd probably put some lucite around it. Make it like a...
It could be like the whale on 9th and 9th.
That's what I'm saying.
Just
Make
leave
it like
there.
make it like a Banksy art gallery. All right. We'll take a break. More to go around the quarter. 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.
You deserve to feel better today. At Harper Clinic, patients report sleeping deeper, thinking clearer, and feeling stronger. Because mental health care is more than emotions. It's about your whole body. Work to lower your blood pressure, even boost your immune system. Get help to manage stress, focus, and reconnect. If you're facing anxiety, depression, or just feeling stuck, call Harper Clinic, 801-306-2345, 801-306-2345 to start feeling better.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.